and welcome to a video completely unplanned and unscripted. We don't even know what we're doing tonight. That's where we are.
I'm so nervous and stressed.
Okay, so if you didn't know, it's your summer sabbatical's over, right? Like every summer you've moved for the past 5 years. So you usually
Every time.
We usually take like 3, 4, 5. I think one year you took 6 weeks off in the summer.
Yeah.
But I can't remember if it's always been a job change, but you've moved, I think 5, 6 times. How many times have you moved since we started recording?
At least 4 times. This might be the 5th. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have not recorded in 4 weeks. You've moved. You were originally in Florida, then you moved again in Florida. Then you went to North Carolina. Now you're in Baltimore.
Yeah.
This is our first recording, and hey, we have not officially tested your setup. I called you tonight thinking you thought we were just going to hang out and just set up. And then I surprised you with, okay, now we're going to record. So that's where we are tonight.
Yeah, I'm very stressed because the lighting is terrible. I think the camera's actually crooked too. So it's like, you'll be like, why is Crypto leaning? Why does he look like he's on a ship? I'm on a cruise, guys. I'm on a cruise.
Is Baltimore sinking? What's going on over there?
Yeah, it's going down into the swamps. Drain the swamp.
So if you didn't notice today, like we record Monday nights typically, we had no video today. This is the first time we've missed a recording day, like a video today in how long have we been doing? Like 4.5 years, 4 years? I don't know how long we've been doing this, but it's the first time we've ever missed publishing a video because we didn't have enough planned to get us through the crypto sabbatical.
Well, it was unplanned. We had usually a good stash, right? But this job literally fell in my lap, and it was like, hey, you're gonna start in 3 weeks, and I was like, and then the house I was living in, our lease got canceled, and so we were gonna have to move anyway, and then I had to go to Ohio for training. Then I got COVID. Then I go back to Ohio for training. My wife's doing basically all the moving. And it's been nuts. It's been a crazy 6 weeks, but that's my life,
Well, and also from like a channel perspective, it's actually interesting. We just got a comment. I don't know if you've seen it. You probably haven't been able to keep up with everything that's going on. But someone said, "Where's the books, bro? Like, it's been a year since you've published a book review, as opposed to short stories and poems, which is totally fair." Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you read any books over the past year, besides obviously Ulysses that we work on, but have you read any books just like for pleasure on the side?
I've listened to a couple that were suggested that were kind of like light RPG, D&D, sci-fi books, a couple here or there, but no, not really. I listened to a lot of, no, that's actually a lie. The previous job I had before this, I was selling beauty products. I listened to a lot of books and podcasts on how to be a salesperson, beauty products, the beauty industry. So actually I have, but they were work-related books, so they weren't for fun.
But they're like self-help. So like you wouldn't...
Yes.
I mean, there's channels out there that review self-help, particularly if you have a specialty in an area. You can kind of point out like, hey, here's what's good about this book. But that's not really what we do on this channel. I haven't read too much. I did just read a book on vacation here during your sabbatical. I did How Do You Live? It's actually, I think I have the cover here. It's been in the background traditionally, and they're actually do you know, gosh, what is it called? The Miyazaki is the director. I'm trying to think of what the name of the company is.
I don't know.
It's on the tip of my tongue. Like Hayao Miyazaki is the director, but he did like My Neighbor Totoro. He did
Godzilla.
No, he did like Kiki's Delivery Service, Ghibli films. I don't know if he's already created this, but I did read that this was one of his favorites and he was interested in creating a movie on it. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to check it out. So I read this over break, and it's not, I don't think, a book we would do a discussion on, because the structure of this one is actually kind of interesting, and I would recommend this book. It's kind of I don't know, I think it's kind of unfair to call it YA, but it's called YA. But it's like this kid has something that happens in his life, and he tells his uncle about it, who's kind of raising him. And his uncle will, like, in a notebook, write a philosophical treatise about, like, his view of what he's learning and how proud he is of the kid. So it's kind of like the uncle's taking on the role that you and I typically would do about how we'd break down, like, well, you know, here's what's going on behind the scenes in our opinion. Here's how we'd interpret this. So there's really no point. There's no point to us breaking down the video in our process, but it is a great book.
So they've done the work for us. Dang it. We're becoming obsolete.
Well, here's the thing: is it's not trying to, like, legitimately explain the science, or it goes into economics. There's a lot to the book, but it's not trying to break it down as a scientific fact. It's trying to pose kind of questions. But with that said, it kind of reminds me, there's this really, it's got a bad rap now. It's kind of like pretentious, but it's called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Have you heard of that one?
I actually think I have, because my uncle was big into riding motorcycles when he was younger, and then worked at a racetrack, fixed motorcycles, sold Harleys, all the things. And I'm pretty sure he's read that, or he told me about that. It sounds very, very familiar.
Is it? I remember I read it early 20s, and I think I read, like, I looked up, like, I Google searched or Netscape Navigator searched back in the day, like, what are the most important books to read, or, like, what are the top books to read? Somehow this came onto my radar. And now when I talk to book friends about it, they're like, oh my gosh, that book is so pretentious. And I loved it at the time. So lame. I'm not sure I totally understood it. I know I didn't totally understand it. I'd love to revisit that at some point in my booktube career, like before, I don't know, whenever we quit booktube right now. It's an outlet in our lives for us to kind of hang out, chill, talk about, you know, readings. But at some point I want to tackle that either with you or by myself before I quit. Like, that would be, I think, at least one hump I have to cover before I end this journey, if that makes sense.
End goal games. I got it. Yeah. That's the
well,
end
the
of
end
the
goal, like, doesn't it kind of constantly change? Like, at one point it's like, well, we got to do War and Peace. Well, we got to do Dostoevsky's Big Four novels. Like, you always come up as someone who, like, has read his entire life, you always come up with a reason to have to read the next book, I guess is to be fair, the truth.
We have consistently pushed the goal line further and further. And I think that's a good thing, right? It's challenged us. It's challenged me, at least. And I think that I'm a better person for it. I'm more well-read. And I feel, I don't know, I feel better about it. My brain feels better about it, even though I definitely feel myself aging. It feels like it's the only thing that's helped me combat, you know, getting maybe a little bit slower, or not quick-witted, or feeling dumb compared to the youth. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. It's something that's always positive to try to continue pushing further, pushing those boundaries.
It's kind of funny. When you came up here to visit me a while back, and we did that video where we reacted to one of our first videos. And
God.
You remember, we could see that we had no gray hairs, right? Like, like a lot's changed in 4.5 years. Like, we're at we're at a very interesting point in our lives where, I don't know, it's kind of weird. You and I both started graying. I feel like our beards, our hair started graying at the same rate. You and I both developed arthritis at almost the same time, and both got put on some arthritis medications to deal with it. We both learned to change our lifestyles, about our activity, and what we needed to do each day to kind of curb that arthritis pain. Like, you and I have shared, I think, not just books, but a certain period in our lives where we can relate to each other in a way that, you know, if you're talking to other people who might even be the same age, maybe younger, maybe older, but they may not be going through those same things. So we have a very interesting dynamic between the two of us.
Now, here's some philosophical stuff. Do you think that would have happened
if we hadn't met each other? Damn it, I knew you were going to ask that.
Yeah, like, well, think about, like, did the coming together of our friendship make those things happen? Would they have not have happened? That's interesting.
I'm gonna say my mind says no. Right, like intellectually, like you arthritis is something that has been developed of me not moving or having poor posture for many years. It's not because I started having a book chat with you once a week.
Fair.
Right. But at the same time, I was talking about this with my friend. I might have mentioned him before. His name's John. He's the one that used to live in Japan. He got into boots at the same time as me. He got into chess at the same time of me. I have either influenced friends around me, or friends around me have have influenced me to generally have similar interests at the same time. So I have a very sympathetic, empathetic type of way of enjoyment in my life with friends, if that makes sense.
Why did you do it to me? I woke up because I was sleeping on the ground for a couple of days and I had COVID. Oh man, I woke up with the worst arthritis here in my collarbone. It was like,
yeah.
it hurt so bad.
Because you had to like bed rest or whatever and you weren't moving, like that triggered it.
Yeah. And I was sleeping on the ground because I literally didn't have a bed because it was being loaded up and shipped to Maryland here. And so we were staying the last couple of nights and I had COVID and I was just sleeping on the ground. And like I would, I try not to sleep on my right side because that's the side that happens. And it was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife and I think I was telling you, we just got back from South Dakota and it was a similar thing where my side is actually my right side. I've got a little bit of like a bulging disc. I've learned through some MRIs along with the arthritis. So I can't sleep on this side, my right side. It hurts. And just because of the way that the bed was set up and my son was sleeping with us in bed in South Dakota, I found myself sleeping on the right side a lot. And like the first few days, like, I don't know if you have this, but like since it's in my neck, sometimes it's kind of hard to raise my right arm a little bit if it's like flaring up a lot. Like I just don't want to use my right arm. It was, yeah.
I try to use it more actually because I feel like that, I don't know if this is the right word, but you move it and it like loosens up and almost like the lubrication or whatever's in there that allows the joint and stuff to move warms up or something. So I don't know. But, I had that surgery, and I understand, I'm sympathetic to your pain because I have that with my left arm sometimes because I get like shadow pains and things from when I had that surgery and lost all movement of my left arm. So, yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, well, my doctor, he tells me motion is the potion, and I wanted to punch him when he told me that. But
the greatest wealth is health.
Yeah,
Una.
It felt so creepy when he said that. But I think my situation was also complicated by the herniated disc. Like, I don't know. Like the two together just suck. Now, but you said something interesting there about the challenge, the intellectual journey. Like this is going back a couple steps. I know we cut threads and a lot as friends, but I think we do need to address the elephant in the room, going all the way back to the Wino Books Bro comment.
The books.
Yeah, I think some of we've been through a lot because we stopped the Patreon, but during the page, like at the very, very beginning of when we thought about stopping that, we had started the Ulysses Journey by James Joyce, right over here. And we're 100% committed to finishing it, but we're just 100% committed to doing it at our pace. So you went all the way through. I made it up to like farther than where we are now. I want to say like 10-ish, chapter 10
like
of 18.
10, 12, somewhere around there. And we've recorded through 6, so we're a third of the way of recording through it. We're going to do 7 sometime soon. Obviously, you'll be in different locations to kind of journey. maybe you'll be in a third like
location
Ulysses.
by the time we finish it.
Oh, please don't say that. One, I have a 2-year lease, so we have to finish it within 2 years. And 2, I think that we can finish it in the next few months because we're gonna hit it. We're gonna get it hard. You're gonna get excited. We're gonna flow through the end of the book, and we're gonna do more books in the future. Even though I love our short stories and poems, I do genuinely miss some of the intellectual challenges that some of the books that we read, and just not brain candy. I'm kind of tired of that. I need something to pull me in.
Well, first I'm going to take issue with, I think you said we're going to hit it hard or get it hard, something like that. I'm going to phrase that differently. I think we're going to jump into Ulysses. I think the first half of this journey was, for me, what is Ulysses and how do I enjoy this? Because the attempt to go through it real quick was a train wreck for me. And now, really reading it, going super slow. If I'm frustrated, I stop immediately. I just go super slow, using secondary resources and skeleton keys to help me with my understanding, what other people in the conversation is around it, has furthered my thoughts that this is the right pace for me. And this is literally, I'm guessing, I don't know, I think this is the only book that we would do like this. This is going to be roughly on pace for a 6.5 hour video. Not for everyone. We're not trying to cater for everyone. This is for us. And I think this is right for me.
Yeah, I think that this is a unique journey in itself. And maybe it's apropos that it's Ulysses' journey. It's, these two guys going through this journey together, but not together. And you and I are doing the same. So I feel like it's very poetic. And I think that when we get to our next book, we'll sit down and have a 30-minute chat in one video, and people will be like, where's the next 6 hours?
Or do we just read the next book and all of a sudden we just vomit out 3 hours of content? I don't know. I am no longer, and haven't been worried, no offense, for about a year or so, worried about how do I make the right product for the audience. And it's really more about what's right for us at this point in time.
We started this channel for you and I, as you said earlier, just for us to be able to hang out and something to do. And we figure, hey, we'll record our thoughts and put them out there for the world to, react to. And I think that it's good for us. And I've enjoyed this journey, and that's what it's always been about.
Well, it's to that point about that, for some reason, that weird relationship that you and I have on our life journeys here. I think the goal is to lean into that, right? Like there's something unique about the way that we're together experiencing life. And the way, I think, to me, I don't know if you're at this point, because I think the first time you read it through, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but I think you had a different view of Ulysses. Right now, as I'm starting to go through it slower and really think about when I was a young man, when I was a baby, now as a father, we just read the death scene, and, there's nothing wrong with my parents, but I look at my parents perhaps a little bit different through those eyes. You know what I mean? Ulysses is no longer a book and how do I tell a story about it, but how much it reverberates through me. And that's what I think is interesting about this really long journey that we're doing with Ulysses. I'm not saying it's going to be a better product, but to me, it's the right product.
It's more genuine, right? I mean, it's more heartfelt. And that's something that we've always tried to do on the channel, is make it not necessarily about us, but be relatable. And that book has become very relatable. The first time I read it, I was working for QVC, and I was reading and listening in between, listening to people complain about not getting their food or their Susan Graver pants. And now that I'm going back through it a second time, it feels more feels, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, with that said, just in terms of timing, it's July. And, we typically have helped participate and create videos and content on Faulkner in August. It would be a shame not to participate from my perspective, because this year is it wasn't my favorite, but now it's becoming one of my favorites. I don't know. But we're doing As I Lay Dying in August. I'm not gonna say you need to do it, but I will say I don't think now is the time for us to create content on As I Lay Dying. I do want to make sure that if you want to participate in this group, there's 30 people in this chat, and any people out there watching, hit me up or hit Allan's up in the Voxer. I'll put his Voxer context on the screen right now. But the idea is if you want to just talk about As I Lay Dying and we move through it as a large community and people have great insight, now would be the ideal time to read that book in August. I don't think we're going to create video on it because what I want to do is not to the scope of Ulysses. Like we can bang that one out in a couple weeks. Don't get me wrong. But I want to go through that one slower and dedicated to it. And whenever we divert our attention from Ulysses, like Ulysses just takes longer and longer and longer. So we need to finish Ulysses before we commit to any other books is my view. But I will still participate in the chat. I'll still listen to it on audiobook, but we're not going to put effort into creating content on that this round, at least for Faulkner in August.
That's fair, but I definitely will participate. I'm all in. Not to be like a Debbie Downer, but I know nobody in Baltimore, so I have a lot more free time on my hands because I'm not hanging out with my brother-in-law, my niece, and my mom and my sister, and I'm not going and doing things all the time every single weekend. So it's just me and my wife here, so I do have a lot more free time, and I feel like I want to invest that into something that I feel is important. So I'm all in.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll put a list of all of the hosts down there. There's new ones being added, I feel like, daily, so I don't want to offend anyone. I want to try to grab the latest one and make sure that all the hosts are recognized. I'm sure they'll put up a lot of videos and definitely follow them. As for us and As I Lay Dying, 100% we're going to do it. It's always been on my plan. It's just been the time's not right now. Like the time will come. It's not right now.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We got many years, decades.
Honestly, I mean, why not? Right? Like, I don't know what YouTube will turn into. I don't know what I'll turn into. And maybe like we just get sick and if we get sick of this, we get sick of it. But like the point being of us hanging out, like this is great. I have no need to stop this at any point soon. So sure, why not decades, right?
Well, when I'm not handsome anymore and I got the old voice, I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been interested in that because like YouTube for all intents and purposes is a really young platform. Like this is not something that's been around for 50 years. So for a platform, and most people get burnt out within 2-3 years. Like already we're like old timers on YouTube and people are like, well, okay, we're literally old timers, but we're also old timers for how long we've been doing it and not having quit. So like to see like a YouTuber somewhat beyond here for 15, 20 years, it is not a thing yet. It'd be interesting just to see how long do we continue this to see, when we're at 10 years, what if we look back at our first year video, like what will we think then?
We'll probably cringe even harder than we did on that revisit when I was there. But It's interesting to think that YouTube is less than 20 years old or around there. It's about 20 years old, right? And to see who has been doing it that long, has anybody posted videos for the entirety of YouTube, or what channels actually make it the longest? Is it video game channels? Is it movie review channels, comic book channels? Which ones do make it the longest? That'd be interesting to kind of see of what is the longevity of different, genres.
So a quick Google search. I said, what is the longest running YouTube channel? And it says, as of May 1st, 2019, Charles Trippy, also known as CTFXC, holds the Guinness World for the longest running video blog series on YouTube with 3,653 episodes. I don't know how often they release, but 3,600 episodes. How many are we at?
400 or 500 or something, right?
Let me look it up.
Yeah.
CodeX Cantina.
3,600 would be one every day for 10 years.
Yeah, we're at 629 videos.
Okay.
Which, if you look at, let's round out. What was that?
If we did it for 10, if we doubled what we did now, we'd be at 1,200, and then 3 times that would be 24 years. But YouTube hasn't been around that long, so they must be producing about 3 videos a week for almost the entirety of YouTube. That's pretty crazy. That's impressive.
Yeah. Or is it daily for a long period of time too? I don't know. Because it's a blog series, so like, not saying it doesn't take a lot of time to edit those, but like the effort into them sometimes, like you're not planning out as much typically. Yeah, we're at 629 videos, and if we take 4 years, we've been on YouTube for about 1,460 days.
That's pretty cool. That's fun.
I think we've been on longer, but those are, eyeball estimates.
I honestly didn't know how long this would last. When we started it, I don't know. I don't know if it's impressive or not, but we're still having fun, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah, is it impressive or sad? I don't know.
Don't say that. Don't say that. No. All right, end that here.
All right. So, hey, again, we spent 2 hours, like when I called you today, you're like, we're recording today? What? So you spent 2 hours throwing together this set. If you're still here at this point in time, let us know what you think. I haven't even seen it yet. I've just been kind of giving some opinions, even not having seen the video yet. So let us know what you think of his new setup here in Maryland.
No, please don't.
We're gonna do some tweaks, right? So that's why we just did kind of a quick hangout chill video tonight. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys are looking for more of Ulysses. And if you want to get involved, like I said, in As I Lay Dying for Faulkner in August, I'm gonna leave the contacts down below, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. All right, so peace out.
Peace.